I'm a first generation daughter, so a lot of things I sort of had to learn on my own. I'm also the eldest daughter. And one of the things that I had to really learn and research was financial literacy and ways to really get control of my money as an adult and get a handle of it and feel good about my money situation, because it's not something I was ever taught. I had to learn about credit cards, credit scores, credit utilization, all these like buzzwords through YouTube University, which was really helpful. Also Reddit. The whole point is to give yourself this feeling of freedom with your money where you don't feel like you're drowning, you know what I mean? Like you don't feel stuck, you don't feel like you're in a hole, like you feel like free. Like I guess financial freedom in a practical way. Like I think the feeling of financial freedom is easily accessible even if you don't have the money to pay off all of your debts. Like the feeling of not feeling like you're drowning every month or living paycheck to paycheck, I think is achievable with simple budgeting tactics. So you feel like you have flexibility with your spending. I'm not a financial advisor and I'm not like someone who's an expert, but I just want to share things that have worked for me and maybe it could work or resonate for someone else. So one of the first things that has been a huge lifesaver for me is utilizing the power of afterpay and Klarna. Now I know they kind of have a bad rep of being like, well, use only the money that you have, like don't use it to buy things you can't afford, and I totally get that. However, there are ways to use these platforms to your advantage and not the other way around. So the trick with using Klarna and Afterpay is using the payment plans that don't charge you interest, because there's no downside to using it. Like you want to do things where it's not going to hurt you in the end. So it's either you buy a $200 pair of shoes and pay the $200 in one shot, or you use Afterpay and Klarna to divide up that $200 payment into 4. And you could split it up across like 2 credit card statements if you're able to, instead of having to pay it all in one statement. So you're not paying any extra interest or anything, you're just dividing up what you would spend in 2 payments in 2 months, which is totally fine. Like if you can't afford something 1 month, I think it's pretty sweet that you could pay half now and pay half later with no downside. Like why wouldn't you want to do that? So using it with that mindset is good. Not using it with the mindset of I'm just going to spend all this money I don't have. It's sort of like keeping in mind like, okay, I'm overspending a little bit, but I'm being smart about it because I'm going to make those payments without any interest over the course of like 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever. Paying the statement balance. So being mindful, spending what you have and maybe spending a little bit over, but knowing that at the end of the month, when you get paid, you're gonna have enough for the statement balance. Because I always think to myself, the goal is to not give these banks free money. It's your money, don't give them free money. Just don't be late on a payment. Just be smart about the way you're spending. It's totally fine to spend a little bit over what you made that month, as long as you're smart and you're doing it in a way where you're dividing those payments so that you're not owing anyone interest. So like say you spend like $700 1 month, but within your statement period, technically you only spent like $300. That's you being smart. You could pay the statement balance and you're still good, you're still Gucci, and you don't owe anyone money, and you could pay the rest next time. So like you get what I mean? Like you're just being smart with money and credit where you're not owing anyone anything. You're just playing the game in your favor. So you have flexibility with your money and more freedom to spend and kind of do whatever you want. Now on that topic, another thing is keeping an eye on your finances. So something I learned very, very early on, thanks to my anxiety, is keeping track and budgeting. And ideally, you want to look at your credit card statements and all of your accounts once every 2 weeks, and at the bare minimum, at least once a month. At minimum, I look at all of my accounts when I get paid, so the end of the month, and I kind of like look through all my credit cards, make sure all of the payments are accurate, make sure I'm not double charged for anything, make sure my credit card wasn't scammed and someone's using my money. Just making sure everything looks good for you and like nothing looks weird across all of your statements. And then also making sure you pay everything that you're supposed to pay. So like pay your statement balance, and then also calculate like how much you're owing, and kind of having an idea of what your spending is looking like from weeks to weeks, so you feel like good about your money. And if you don't feel good about it, then that helps you kind of see like, okay, where do I have to like keep an eye out, like where do I have to cut back? And like the whole point of it is so you feel like you're the one holding the leash of your money, and not feeling like your finances are like taking you out on a whirlwind and you have like no control. Like the point of all of this is to give you back your power with money, which I think is really easy to lose as an adult, and feeling like you're knowledgeable and you know what you're doing, and like your money's working for you even when you're spending it, and feeling good when you spend money. Like you want to feel good when you spend money. You don't want to feel like you don't want to look at your credit card. So I think that comes from looking at your credit card statements all the time and not being scared of it, and being like, okay, like I effed up here. Next time I'm gonna like do things a little differently. And then over time you like learn stuff. And that's like discipline that you build over time, and it's a habit, and it's kind of like the budgeting thing. So not being scared to like budget and kind of see where you could cut back, so then you could have more somewhere else. If you love concerts and you want to overspend in concerts, totally fine. That just means you have to cut back in buying shoes or buying clothes or not ordering out as much. You know what I mean? So like giving and taking, like seeing where you want to splurge a little bit, and then taking out in the places where you could afford to not spend as much anymore. So again, the point is to take back control and not give these banks extra stuff they don't deserve and that's not theirs, because it's your treasure, it's your money. Like, protect it. On the topic of protecting, not using your debit card for anything unless it's important stuff like loans, phone bill, and things where you need to do like an auto debit system. So I'm a big proponent of leaving your physical debit card at home, never bringing it outside unless you're going to an ATM, and just like treating it like a prized possession, where you like a wedding ring that you don't wear, or like a diamond. Like you're not gonna carry a diamond every day in your pocket. You want to keep your real money at home and carry around credit cards. That way, if you lose your wallet, you lose your debit card, you're not losing your real money, you're losing fake money. You know what I mean? So you want to protect your real money and use your fake money, and then use your debit card to just pay off the credit. And then again, just use the debit for like loans and like things where you need to use your debit card and they won't let you use your credit. That's what you should be using your debit card for. And just having that mindset. Reaching out to your credit card companies to tell them and update your information with how much you make a year. And I say that so that hopefully your credit cards are increasing your maximum spending, or like the maximum amount of money they give you every month. And you want them to increase the maximum amount of money like that you want on your credit cards, because that gives you more flexibility. So the whole point of like increasing your maximum on each of your credit cards isn't so you have more money to spend. The point is, you know how much you need to spend and you know how much you make, and like if you can only spend $1,000 a month, like don't spend $2,000 a month all because your credit card company increased your maximum. State what you're doing, leave it the same. It's gonna help your credit score the more they increase your maximum, because to them it looks like you're using less credit. So say you make like $30,000 a year. No, okay, $50,000 or $60,000 a year, like at your salary, and then your credit card company increases your maximum to something crazy like $10,000 a month, and they're like, oh, you have a maximum usage of like $10,000 a month, girl. But like pretend the 10,000 isn't even there. We just want that there because it's gonna help your credit score, because the fact that you're only using a small percentage of that $10,000 they gave you is going to increase your credit score exponentially, and it's going to look like amazing. Like the government's going to think you're super responsible, you're paying off all your stuff, and you're not like spending like a crazy person, and it's going to help your credit score. So if you want to buy a house, you want to take out a loan for whatever reason, you want to buy a car, or you just want to have a nice credit score, like some people, it just looks really good that you don't spend all of the money. Because ideally, you're not supposed to spend like up to your maximum of your credit card, which I know is hard. But if they increase your maximum to something crazy, then it makes it easy for you to not reach it, and you could like spend like normal and it won't hurt your credit score. I think I touched on all of the big points with financial literacy. I will say the next one that is also really big is giving yourself a cushion. And I know this is hard, but it's important to invest in yourself before even thinking about investing in like stocks or whatever. So this kind of ties into like only using your debit card for important stuff, not using it. So if you do find yourself, you're budgeting really great, like you're paying all your bills, you're not really spending that much, you want to leave money in your checking account that you don't typically use, kind of like a fake savings. And you want to do that for any case of emergencies, or like maybe 1 month you're like really tied up and you're like, oh dude, like I need an extra $200 for a plane ticket to go somewhere. You have that there immediately for you to access. And it's just good to have money sitting in your checking, like a little bit, not something crazy, for you to have easy access to if you're ever like tied up 1 month. And just having a cushion there is good. Once you have a cushion in your checking that's pretty solid, like nothing crazy, like I would say 500 to 1,000 is it's like a really solid cushion to have like there all the time that you could tap into. I mean, if you can't do that much, like even like $200, $100 is really good. Literally anything you could afford, just like let money sit in your checking that you could use if you're tied up and need it one day, so you don't feel pressed, you don't feel like you're like drowning. So yeah, leaving a cushion will give you that feeling that you can breathe, that you can like live life, like you can enjoy your time with friends and not feel bad about it. Having a cushion. Once you have a cushion for yourself, then I say take the next step and then invest in your future, which is creating a Roth IRA account, which is investing in some stocks, putting some money in some ETFs, like putting little amounts of money into things you like and things you believe in that you feel have the potential to grow and create passive income for you. I'm not super knowledgeable. I'm not like an expert on stocks, but I do dabble in it. Like I do have money like in different places. I do dabble in crypto and Bitcoin, Dogecoin. I have money in like Roth accounts. Like I have money everywhere. I don't really look at it all the time because I'm more of like, I'm gonna set it, forget it. And I know it's like hopefully working in my favor. Sometimes I'll throw in some money for like Microsoft or like a random company that I feel like is gonna do really well, but I won't really look at it. So like invest in whatever way makes sense for you if you have the extra means to. But I say don't invest unless you invest in yourself first and you feel good about your money situation. Because you want to feel good about your money regardless of what you're doing. Like the goal is to feel good and spend and find power in your money. So that's my 2 cents. I think that's kind of all I have to say about that. This is just something that's been on my mind, and I really feel like I've sort of mastered my money in a way when it comes to like my own life. And I would like to just share some things that I think could help people maybe starting out or people who are having trouble kind of figuring it out, because I know it can be really confusing, like the whole money thing, and us civilians, we find a way to kind of have the system work in our favor, which the biggest thing that I would propose to you is like using Klarna and afterpay to your advantage. So that's all I have to say about that. I hope this was helpful, and I hope someone got some value out of this, and if you have any other advice and tips, like, you know, let me know, because I'm learning every day. And again, I mean, this is what works for me. So yeah, I hope that was useful to you, and thank you. Bye.